We are live. Oh my gosh, for 5 seconds already. Let me fix the microphone. Oh, how are you? Hope you are having an absolutely amazing day. We are going to be talking about failure and how to stay optimistic when you feel like you're failing. When the goal that you are on, the mission to achieve, is not happening fast enough. And how do you keep that dream alive? So here we are for the lockdown lift up. We're still technically on lockdown, and I was just reading about the opening, phase one opening. And honestly, we're still going to be locked down. Like, it's not really, freedom, shall we say, in Ontario. So I think we'll just keep calling it the lockdown lift up until we're actually free. Who's up? Who's up for that? All right. Awesome. Let's get into this. So I've given some thought to this conversation because, I think there are times when, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner or a thought leader like me, where you really have these big goals and you have this big dream, and you just like, it just feels like it's not happening fast enough. And I've been having this conversation with others. And so I came up with some ideas of why or what I do to keep myself optimistic when I'm feeling that way, and how I would advise you if you were one of my coaching clients. Of course, if you were one of my coaching clients, we'd be dealing specifically with your situation and the nuances of your world. But here are just some ideas, here are some ideas for you. So the first thing is to keep your eye on the prize. Now, this is no doubt how you would imagine I would suggest this. And a lot of people would say, call this your why. I don't know if you caught the lockdown lift up where I talked about finding your why and sort of said, I don't know if that's what drives me. For me, it's not a why as much as a gut feeling, which may just be a nuance of words, but for me, it's just, I don't know. I know the why, it's brilliant. It's what we need to look at. It doesn't seem to resonate with me though. But that gut feeling, but whatever it is, keeping your eye on the future of what you know one day will come to fruition. And how you're just like getting closer and closer and closer. So that's really important. But then how do you do that? Well, you've got to keep it front and center. Perhaps you have some sort of a vision board that reminds you of what you're trying to achieve. Maybe it's a ritual that you have each and every day, reminding yourself of how that feels. Or like me, it just becomes the essence of how you show up every day. And so when you're working, you just you kind of are settled into that peaceful state of, this is why I'm doing this. All right, so that's number one. The second thing is, if you want to be optimistic when you feel like you're failing, is there's a fine line between the emotion of feeling like you are a failure, or that it's the actions you've taken or not taken that are actually failing. Two different things. One, you internalize it. You think you're a loser. I just can't do this. I can't do anything right. And that's a lot of pressure and a lot of negative energy that you have to push through if you're allowing yourself to feed that as your identity, as opposed to being hands off and kind of going, okay, well, that thing that I tried there, that didn't work. That wasn't the right answer. So now I've got to be willing to try something else, or to keep willing to try the exact same thing over and over again until it actually does work, right? So this is where, actually, I'm going to bring a tip from later forward to say you probably need some help. If you've been on a journey for a while, you've been committed, you've been as consistent as you can, you feel like you've got it figured out and it's just still not happening, then if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a coach, you probably need someone who's sort of formalized in that role to keep you on track and maybe see the blind spots that you're not seeing. And a lot of times what people will do is piecemeal the coaching and mentoring together. So picking people's brains, I've got a friend who does this, I've got a friend who does that, we're going to chit chat, and you kind of get piecemealed advice. And the problem with that is there's no one person who's looking at your entire picture and saying, okay, but here's a hole over here and here's a hole over here, and what are you doing about this, and challenging you. So you may in fact need some outside eyes, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be a huge 1 year or 3 year contract. It could be somebody who's going to do a power session with you, right? And just really dive in and give you some advice. So that may be something you need to do, because then you can feel like, okay, I'm not in this alone, right? And hiring and outsourcing, like I'm super excited tomorrow. I'm going to start with a Bookstar PR, and they're going to look after all the promotion and everything for my new book, Take Back Your Weekends. Stress less, do more, be happier, which is going to be officially available for tomorrow, for purchase tomorrow. But you know what? It's the long game for me. It's not about tomorrow. I'm not doing a big Amazon campaign. I'm not buying up 100,000 copies to become a New York Times bestseller. Like, I'm not doing any of that. It's just going to be there. And if it resonates with you and it's something that you need, if you're feeling stressed, then I encourage you to get it. But I think one of the things to be optimistic and hopeful is when we have somebody else on our team, when we have somebody who's got our back and is going to participate in the process of doing whatever it is, because we can't be the expert at everything that we need to get done. And so relying on others is really important. Let's keep going. Get curious about what's the best way to move forward. So not from a judgmental state, not from a state of, I'm such an idiot, how come I didn't think about this? But just getting really curious about, is there a better way to do the things I'm trying to do? I was talking with someone this morning, and he was saying, everybody's so focused and holding on to these ways that he doesn't think are the right ways on the team. And that, and he's like, I don't even know why people are holding on to it. Like, it never worked. It never was right. But they've just got this tunnel vision that that's how it's got to happen. And so the next piece is really about, it's not about the path you take to get there and judging that, but like keeping your eye on that further prize, but being willing that, you know what, I may need to jig-jag a little bit here to the right, and then a little bit to the left, and then a little bit to the right, and then a little up, and then a little down, feeling okay with that. And when you emotionally disconnect from the actions that have failed, as opposed to thinking you have failed, then you can be more optimistic moving forward. So, something to consider. Getting curious. Oh, always have another idea in your back pocket. So it's like, okay, I'm doing this, and if it doesn't work, that's okay, because I can do this, or I can do this. Right? And like feeling like having that creativity to know that there's not only one way to achieve the outcome that you're looking at, so that you're not emotionally connected to the path, you're emotionally connected to the future arrival of said goal that you're trying to achieve. Which brings me to the next point, which is going to sound counterintuitive, but it's a different type of emotional connection. We can't wait until the big goal in order to feel contentment and happy and like we need to celebrate. There needs to be things around, like as you walk, the little tiny small steps that are actually going to are going to make you feel excited, right? And getting really, really excited about those. Each step along the way, having a little celebration. And I don't care if it's, I was doing a talk the other day, and somebody said, I have a tough time getting motivated to go do, the hour-long bike ride or whatever. And I'm like, well, okay, but 5 minutes, that'll make you feel good. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like doing the little bits. But when it comes to achieving our big goals, it's like if we're trying to bring something to fruition, like me with the book, or the speaking work, and trying to get it to the level that I really want it to be. It's like I can't just wait for the huge stage at whatever price point is my goal to feel like I've succeeded, because there are a lot of wins along the way, and sometimes we forget to actually count those wins and count our blessings and really be okay with that. All right, just moving along here. Thanks for being here. Awesome to have you. We're talking about how do you stay optimistic when you feel like you're failing and keep going. So we've got the willingness to keep tweaking, always having ideas in your back pocket, trusting yourself that if one way doesn't work, you can find another way. Wouldn't that be cool? You know you will. Another thing that has always helped me stay, like, I'm naturally optimistic, but I actually have it as one of my core values. So it's very rare that it doesn't mean I don't get upset. It doesn't mean I don't get frustrated or angry. I just always have hope that it's going to work out, right? Like, at the end of the day, I think it's all going to happen. And one of the ways to do that is to have future facing opportunities set. So maybe it's meeting, a networking meeting, or a reconnection with an old contact, or something that's like a week or 2 weeks out, so that even if you have a dip this week, you know that, oh, but this is going to happen in the future. And so that just gives you another layer of hope for the future. And so it just can keep you going. And it's not like we don't need to judge the day to day. Like, if we have a good day here and a bad day here and then a good day, that's okay. And then we might beat ourselves up. Oh, I had a bad day. No, but we want the weeks to, on whole, be much better, and each week to be better. Right? Like, we want to keep continuing to grow. And I was watching Kobe Bryant's motivational thing today. It was just beautiful. You know, it's such a tragic story with him passing away early, but he was talking about how every year he picked a skill and was like, okay, I'm going to get better at that skill this year. And then the next year he'd pick another skill, and then he'd pick another skill, and then he'd pick another skill. And it's like the consistency over a long period of time of getting a little bit better, getting a little bit better, getting a little bit better. That's the magic. And so we need to be able to embrace and hold on to and celebrate those little pieces of the puzzle. That to me gives me the most motivation and momentum for bringing something to fruition. So falling in love with each small step, as opposed to only thinking you're winning when you get to that big piece. And you know, there are a lot of motivational pieces around failing, right? Like, I don't know what all the quotes are, but let's think, you know, you only miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You know, it's not the light bulb. What was it? He said, if I didn't find 9,999 ways to light bulb. No, I didn't fail 900, not however many times. I found X amount of times that the light bulb didn't work. Right? Like, so, you know, we've got to be okay with the failing and trusting ourselves for the future. And the last piece, oh no, I've got two more, is to track how far you've come. Because sometimes when we're in the midst of something and we've got our eye on the big prize, and that doesn't feel like it's coming fast enough, or there are roadblocks in our way that just don't seem to be making it happen, then that, like, the thing is, you could have started here. Sorry, I use my hands a lot, but you could have started here, and your goal is to go here. And you may be feeling like you're still here, but if you're honest about it, you're actually about here. Right? And so it's like these extremes, right? It's like, we've got this really, really, really great thing that we're working towards. Awesome. Yay. We want to achieve that. And we feel like we're over here because that's where we started. And it's like, we think we're still that person who started there. We're not. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many steps closer to this. The only problem is that we misjudged how far or how long it was going to take to get there. And, you know, you can do the actions, but there are other factors in the world, right? People have to be ready for your message. Maybe there are, you know, bigger circumstances at play. Maybe there's a better idea that's coming your way that is going to give you the essence of this amazing thing. But it's not going to be the end because you were limited by your imagination on what you could actually achieve. Like, maybe it's going to be something even better. I don't know. Super exciting to find out, isn't it? but to be optimistic about, okay, well, maybe this isn't working because it's not exactly the right timing, or it's not exactly the right vision, or it's not exactly the way, I need to have it. I don't know. It could be something. Come, because that really, really cool thing that you're working towards, and you just like think about this dichotomy, right? And you want to work towards it, but you're halfway there. And this is where they say, they gave up, another inch from gold. Well, don't. Yeah, you're right there. You're right there. Don't give up. Don't give up. Anyway. Okay. And then the next piece, to stay optimistic, I find action is the absolute best answer. Taking action. What can you do? What is within your control that is going to help you get closer and closer and closer to that incredible thing that you want to achieve? And when you can get there, that's going to be very cool. But in the meantime, all you can do is the actions that are within your control. And if you're curious about that, you may want to catch Thursday's Lockdown Lift Up, which was all about how do you overcome procrastination. So there we go. There are my thoughts for today on this. How do you stay optimistic when you feel like you're failing or your dreams are not coming to fruition fast enough? I'm so happy to have you here with me. I see we have people who are watching live. Not a lot of comments today. Maybe I forgot to shout out on comments and say, please comment. But if you comment and I see it, I will bring it up and put it on the screen, which may or may not be exciting. I don't know. Helps me feel like I'm not just talking to a lens. Although, let's be honest, I enjoy it. I do. Okay, there we go. There is our lockdown lift up today, my friends. And I hope you have the absolute best day. And if you feel like it's just not coming together, I'm going to encourage you to hang on and keep going. Greg, just in under the moment. Thank you. I'm so glad you loved it. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Have the best day, and I will see you tomorrow, 3:15. Any topic ideas, let me know, because I am happy to use your topic ideas. Okay?